Taking a deep dive into Michigan State's second and final player of the class of 2020's four-star guard, AJ Hoggard. Finished 24/7 composite final rankings at 73rd in the class of 2020. Point guard, combo guard, there's some debate of whether he's more naturally a lead guard or off the ball. From what I saw in interviews, he feels most comfortable with the ball in his hands playing in the lead guard spot. I think that he's an extremely instinctive point guard. He has great court vision. He has a knack for finding teammates without always looking at them. And all around, I think he's extremely solid playmaker that can play the point guard at the next level. He has the size, however, to play off the ball as well. He's 6'3", 220 pounds, carries a lot of his weight in the lower frame. He has extremely wide hips. He's always going to be a more stocky player throughout his career. I do think conditioning needs to come into play a little bit. I think he could probably be fighting weight a little bit closer to 205, 210. He can lean up and strengthen some of his upper body and just get in a little bit better shape. And I think that that's a natural progression once he gets into the program. I project him to probably guard the 2 or the 3 spot more so than the 1. I'm not sure if he's laterally quick enough at this point in his career to be able to just come in and play lead guards in the Big Ten. I think in the upper class years, he's going to be able to figure out how to use his size and leverage to guard some of those guys. But when he comes in, he's going to be more comfortably playing a little bit bigger, slower players out on the perimeter. Offensively, he's an extremely potent downhill scorer. He uses his size and his leverage extremely well. Similar to how Cassius would find guys behind him and keep them on the hip, Hoggard has a really innate ability to do the same thing. Obviously, he has a much bigger package, and therefore he can ward off players a little bit better than Cassius can. He's crafty angle scorer. He's capable of scoring from the side of the rim. He has a little bit of a floater game. He can score with the left hand. He actually drives more consistently left, despite the fact that he's a right-hand player. It kind of throws guys off. He has a quick first step off the dribble, an extremely tight handle, a pretty decent shot form. I think that that's something he needs to continue to work on. He's probably a mid-30s shooter in college, but he's going to be able to keep guys honest enough to be able to get to the rim with his ability to score off the bounce. All around, extremely exciting player for Michigan State. The reason Hoggard has a chance to be able to be a good lead guard in the Big Ten is his ability to be able to get into the paint off the dribble and to finish through contact. Here you see the first defender kind of get caught on his hip. He's using a little bit of the chicken wing. The second defender reaches in. He plays through the contact. The third defender comes over and gives him the body. He kind of floats for a minute and then finishes with the opposite hand. Extremely impressive body control and kind of sneaky athleticism. Here again, he gets the steal. He plays into the body of the defender and then floats to the opposite side through the contact. His ability to kind of hang in the air, to finish with either hand, to absorb contact, that's extremely high-level Big Ten type play. Here you see, again, the little freeze with the dribble, keeping the guy on the hip. Once you're behind him, you're dead because there's just no way you're going to be able to catch up. And he really does have a nice ability to go either way. Here you see a little hesitation, always going to the left despite the fact that he's a right-handed player. A quick first step here, again finishing on the same side. All around, just a really crafty player that can score in a variety of ways. Now you see some of the strength that he can give you, the mismatches that he's going to find on smaller guards. He uses his strong lower half, his physical side to kind of push players off. He plays a little bit of bully ball. Here you see him just finish through in the post. I think he's going to be able to post up a little bit, maybe like a Jalen Brunson type. And just the strength and the ability to finish is already Big Ten caliber. Next, you see a little bit of the finesse part of his game, his ability to get into the middle of the paint, to play from the side angle, and he's got a little bit of that floater game where he doesn't need to get all the way to the rim to finish. The fact that he's going to be playing a little bit bigger players, a little stronger players, it's all around just a good thing. And now you see the passing ability. When you can get into the lane and score, you're going to draw bunch of attention, an extremely natural playmaker. His head is always up. He looks guys off and finds them casually right there on the drop off. Just all around, I think he has the ability to come in and play immediately for Michigan State, and just a guy that I'm really excited to see. And last but not least is Hoggard's ability to shoot it from deep. He can do it off the jab step. I like the way that he squares his shoulders. He can shoot it off the dribble. It's something that he's going to need to continue to work on, but I like the way that his form is when he lets it go. All around, Izzo has been consistently finding OKGs. Hoggard is 100% that. I like the intangibles, how hard he plays, the swagger he plays with, and he's a great pickup for Michigan College State. Player comp for AJ Hoggard is DeVontes Smith-Rivera. Originally, I was thinking Shelvin Mack, but there wasn't enough film on his Butler days for me to dissect to see if their games were similar. El-Amin from UConn in the late 90s was a pretty decent comp, but he's 5 inches shorter and no one would have remembered who he is. I had a vague recollection of DeVontes Smith-Rivera, but the player comp on 24/7 from Jerry Meyer was his, and when I dove into the film, I thought it was a pretty fair comparable. As you can see, he had a hell of a career at Georgetown, played 4 years and almost 2,000 career points. First team Big East, almost 400 assists, and just all around a bucket-getting combo guard, point guard. As you can see from some of the stats, what I really liked about him is that he immediately played minutes early on, which I think Hoggard is going to be able to get a chance to do. Pretty solid three-point percentage, kind of that mid-30s where I expect Hoggard to be. I really like his free throw attempts. I think Hoggard's going to be able to get to the line quite a bit. As you can see, he shot 83%. I think Hoggard is going to be an 80+% free throw shooter, and he's going to get there frequently the way that he plays. And all around, this guy just scored points. He rebounded. I think Hoggard's going to be maybe a little bit better of an assist man, but all around a super interesting comp, and as you can see from the film, a very similar playing style. Right off the bat, you see Smith-Rivera get into the teeth of the defense, use his strength to finish through, kind of floated a little bit there. Again, getting into the defender's body without using the off arm, kind of pushing him out of the way with the strength. Very similar. From a physical standpoint, AJ Hoggard and Smith-Rivera almost near clones. 6'3", 215 pounds for Smith-Rivera. Again, you see him getting into the teeth of the defense. Here he gets a steal, seeking out the contact, finishing from the opposite direction of whence he came. Very similar stylistically in the way of them getting downhill constantly into the bodies of defenders. Here you see some sneaky athleticism, going one direction, switching to the other, finishing with either hand, and now a little bit of the angle scoring. So he has a little bit of the floater game in his game as well. We see the same thing from Hoggard here. And lastly, you get to see the point guard passing ability, using the size and the leverage off the dribble to be able to get into the middle of the paint. The help side defender slides over and you find the cutting big man. Because of the ability to score when you get to the middle of the paint, whether it's in the half court, whether it's in transition, you're going to get increased attention. And the way that you counter that is to be able to get your teammates involved. AJ Hoggard is going to be a hell of a player for Michigan State. Super excited to see him in the green and white, and I cannot wait to see what his career is going to be.